Easy weight loss tips. You may want to consider grabbing a pen and a paper. I'm going to share with you a couple key things when it comes to easy weight loss tips. Number one is consider having a clear, specific goal. If you could, and I'll do a little exercise with you right now, if you could wave a realistic magic wand and you could have your body, your health, your energy, any kind of way you wanted it to be, what would that be like for you? And the more specific you can be, the better. Really dial it in. That's the first thing I do with all my clients and myself. Get that goal, know exactly what it is you want to achieve, be clear and specific. And then back it up with what I call the 5 fundamentals of fitness. These are things that I work on myself and things that I teach my clients and coaching clients. And it goes like this. So if you're taking notes, number 1 is training, exercise. Number 2 is nutrition. Number 3 is recovery. Number 4 is supplementation. Number 5 is mindset. I'm just going to run down a couple key things, but just keep in mind that one of my mentors just said it just the other day that, you know, when it comes to making big things happen in our lives, like fitness is a big area, you know, finances is a big area, relationships is a big area, spirituality is a big area, fitness, right? When it comes to achieving your fitness goals, anything big, there's really only about a half a dozen things that if you just follow the principles within those areas, you're going to be successful, right? And it's no different with fitness. There's only, I consider, 5 important things to consider when it comes to your health and fitness. And you may want to write these down. So number 1 is training, right? And we just talked about that. So training is basically, when it comes to your exercise, I encourage you to have some sort of strength training and some sort of cardiovascular training. Imagine if you had an airplane and you had twin-engine airplane. If you only, and one engine is strength training and one engine is cardiovascular training. If you only had one engine working on the airplane, it's not going to be as efficient as if we have both engines working on the airplane. Does that make sense? So we're going to have both engines working on the airplane. Nutrition, that's real important. Say, for example, your ideal dream physique that you laid out that you want to build, your ideal physique. Now imagine this. Imagine we're trying to build a beautiful 2-story house from scratch. And imagine if we only have half the materials necessary to build the house, how far are we going to get? Think about that. How far are we going to get if we only have half the materials necessary to build the house? How far are we going to get? Well, only about halfway, right? So the foods that you and I eat on a daily basis, the foods that we eat every day, are like the supplies that goes towards building this body that you want. Does that make sense? That's why it's so important. It's so important. So I encourage you to write a couple of documentaries to watch. If you're more of a sports enthusiast, The Game Changers is one that's a really good one to watch, right? The Game Changers, right? It's on Netflix and YouTube. Number 2 is Forks Over Knives. This really breaks it down. It's a really interesting, from a health perspective, really shares with you why it's so important to eat basically what I call a whole food plant-based diet. And then if you want to find out more about how our diet affects the animals, consider watching Earthlings or Dominion. Both of those are popular, recommended. This is to show you the horror that goes on the animal side of it. So now, when it comes to the types of food that you eat, consider this. Imagine that we're trying to build a fireplace inside your fireplace. And imagine if we have a choice of oak wood on one hand, where you have a stack of paper on the other end, right? Imagine we have that. So what would you rather have? Not including getting the fire started, but just where would you rather have? Your oak wood to burn in your fireplace all day long, or your paper? Which one would you rather have, and why? Think about that. Well, most of us would choose the oak wood, and why? Why the oak wood? Because it's going to burn longer. It's denser. It's more dense, right? That's the best word to describe it. Same thing with food, right? Some food burns more like the oak wood, right? And some food burns more like the paper, right? So just if you can, does that make sense? Right. So some foods like whole food plant-based foods, or like fruits and vegetables, whole grains like brown rice, quinoa, oatmeal, and proteins like And I have a whole list of these. If you want a complimentary list, feel free to message me. I'll send them to you at no charge. Just want you to have it and use it. But proteins like legumes, lentils, nuts, and seeds, and there's lots more than that. But lots of choices these days for proteins. So that's whole food plant-based. So think about it. That's going to burn longer, more efficiently, right? Does that make sense? All right. So then there's also the way we eat affects our bodies in 3 different ways. I want you to consider, right? 3 different ways that what we eat affects us. Number 1 is that it affects your health. Eating whole food plant-based is going to help you keep clean, clear arteries. Your arteries is like this. You want a clean, clear, free-flowing artery. That's what I want for you. And if you eat whole food plant-based, you're going to have very clean, very good arteries. And that's what I want for you, is to have that, right? Then it also affects the environment. A lot of our food choices, what we buy, how it's made and how it's processed, a lot of things affect the environment. So it's good to kind of be aware of that. So, because I found that the more reasons you can build to eat healthy, the more reasons you can build behind that. An environment can be one of those reasons. Doesn't mean you have to be an environmentalist, but it means that you care about the environment, and by eating whole food plant-based, you're doing better for the environment, right? And then number 3 is also, do you love animals? I know most of the people I know loves animals in some kind of way. So we don't want to harm the animals, right? So there's a lot of harm going on behind the scenes you don't even know about. It's horrific. It's really horrible. And by eating a whole food plant-based diet, you are also eating a vegan diet. It's the same thing, but veganism is really more about the animals, because there's people that consider themselves vegan like I do, are doing it for the animal rights, but then whole food plant-based is also for the health. So they really go hand in hand. So the more reasons you can build, if health is your number 1 thing and that's what you care most about, your health, but you can pack on, hey, it's better for the environment, hey, it's better for the animals. It just gives you more reasons to be consistent with it, which is what's going to help relieve your suffering, and it's going to help you be healthier and make you feel better. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So that's nutrition. Recovery, sleep approximately 7.5 to 9 hours sleep a night. We could do a whole topic on that. Number 4, supplementation. Basically 2 different categories of supplements to consider: nutritional supplements and enhancement performance supplements. A nutritional supplement is like a shake or something like that that's going to help help you supplement your nutrition. And then the enhancement performance supplement can help you burn fat, build muscle, but it's important that your exercise is in place. Remember the foundation: exercise, nutrition, recovery, then supplementation. So that makes sense, you get an edge, but the foundation is exercise, nutrition, recovery. And last but not least is the mindset. Number 5, mindset. It's so important to visualize and know exactly what it is you want to achieve with your physique. It's so important that you know exactly what it is. Dial it in, be clear and specific. The more detail you can make about your goal, the better. And that's because that's going to pull you in towards it. It's like that. It's one of my mentors taught, and it's well known in the people that focus on goal setting, is that you want to see yourself now how you want it to be, right? So for example, I use myself as an example. I'm 170 pounds, 7% body fat. My goal is to be 180 pounds, 7% body fat. So I'm just trying to gain 10 pounds of muscle. That's my goal. So I say I am happy and grateful now when I'm driving up to the studio. I say in the car, I say my goals out loud. I pray if you're a prayer. I pray my goals. I say if you're not a spiritual person, you can do affirmations. But I say I'm happy and grateful now that I am 180 pounds, 7% body fat, with thick brown hair, 20/20 vision, perfect teeth, supple skin, and I'm feeling like a supple leopard, right? So I verbalize that, I get that out, and that feeling, and I just put myself in that state, and that helps build the goal. Because think about this, and I'll let you go after this. is that as we're going towards our goal, you're being constantly pulled back away from your goal. Does that make sense? You're being pulled away from your goal as you're striving towards your goal. It's kind of like an undercurrent, like a kind of a riptide. It's kind of like that, like in the ocean, where it's kind of, that tide is kind of, undercurrents kind of pulling you back. Well, as you're striving towards your fitness goal, imagine that undercurrent is trying to pull you back. So every day you're getting, life is giving you undercurrent and it's pulling you back, but you're striving towards it. Does that make sense? And the daily repeating your goals, the daily following actions and taking action, whether doing it with yourself or hiring a coach or whatever you decide to do, but taking action and following through, you're getting through that. And that is why coaching does help a lot, because we help you get through that ocean, that current you're breaking through, and you're getting the results. Does that make sense? So with that in mind, if you're interested in a complimentary consultation, I do weight loss coaching as my specialty, and I do it right over the phone and Zoom. You can text me the word FIT, F-I-T, to 520-400-9573, and that's my direct number any time of the day, 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year, and I'll get back to you within a day, and we'll get some interaction going, get you moving on towards your goal, right? But that's what coaching does, helps you get past that current, because it's treacherous out there. You're getting pulled back, but you're striving forwards, and that's what I wish for you. So I hope that makes sense. So some easy weight loss solutions, some tips and things to think about, easy weight loss tips, and we'll see you on the next lesson. Bye for now.